Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Malin Frankenhäuser. I'm Head of Policy at ICMPD. Together with a really great team and the support of countless colleagues, I've been leading preparations for this conference. So before we move on to the opening sessions, I'm here to introduce our theme for this year and some of our thinking behind reimagining migration partnerships. When did we really start to talk about partnerships? In 1997, the definition of a migration partnership was basically a readmission agreement. But pretty much everyone has long since abandoned that idea, and over the years a variety of partnership models have been tried and tested, bilateral, multilateral, between the EU and partner countries like the EU-Turkey deal, within regions, between cities, sometimes informal and sometimes very limited in scope, but sometimes very sophisticated and highly detailed cooperation. That means that our thinking on migration partnership has evolved, is capable of evolving, and will continue to evolve. It's probably only in this plurality of different initiatives working on many different fronts and on many different levels that we really will see enduring results. Partnerships can be controversial. Emotions can run high. In fact, partnerships always have a high degree of self-interest, which means that they only really work when both or all parties are benefiting enough to feel and stay committed. That also makes them far from stable. But the longer they exist, the more we create the habit and the preference to live in partnership. And habits, as you know, are very hard to break. But maybe currently, we also have to invest a little extra so that we can replace the habit of looking for quick fixes in the bad times with the habit of engaging in fair and reciprocal long-term partnership building also in the good times. Because migration is dynamic, as we all know. The routes and the flows that connect us today might shift tomorrow, and politics and priorities change. If we're already in the habit of working together, of talking to each other regularly, of meeting on platforms like this to exchange our views, then changing direction together and adjusting to new circumstances should also be a bit easier. We need cooperation frameworks that also try to safeguard against disengagement and distrust, because we all want partners who will stick with us in the difficult times. And difficult times are inevitably always ahead. They always are in one way or another. We've heard about the many challenges from the speakers before already. The temporary lull in arrivals at the EU border were just that, temporary. We have global labor shortages, demographic aging, youth unemployment, climate change, and new and protracted conflicts with ever-changing dynamics. All these factors together give us a hint of what the future shape of functioning migration partnerships and sustainable migration partnerships need to look like. The challenges and the opportunities that we must partner up on are many. They connect us over migration patterns and systems across regions, continents, and along migration routes, and across policy areas. This is why we have organized the VMC agenda geographically, to enable us to explore partnerships in key areas of Europe's neighborhood and along wider migration routes, to be able to be more specific when we discuss strategies for reimagining them. How to improve cooperation between countries and localities along whole migration routes is something we're putting special emphasis on this year, even if we know that routes are never clear or linear. Thinking in routes helps us to sum up and simplify the many patterns and trends that make up thousands of migrants of journeys, and this is key to getting to concrete proposals for action. Taking this whole of a migration route approach was a recommendation we put forward 2 years ago to make progress on EU migration policy. The basic tenet being that we had seen many partnerships put into action within regions and within sub-regions, but not sufficiently between regions and not along whole migration routes. Rather than a piecemeal approach, we should strive for a more comprehensive strategy. Current thinking on Team Europe approaches on migration seem like a step in that direction and possibly a way to reimagine partnerships for that transformative impacts we're looking for. Our discussion today and tomorrow will kick off with a look at the unfolding situation in Afghanistan. We will also hear from African Union Commissioner El Fadil on her vision for Africa's priorities and goals with regard to future migration partnerships. Following this, a conversation with UNHCR's Special Envoy for the Central Mediterranean explores current shortcomings and ways to secure better outcomes for migrants crossing the Sahara, transiting to and through the Mediterranean. We are very pleased to have several ministers and other top officials from different countries as panelists who will share their priorities and perspectives on building and implementing partnerships along and across multiple routes. But while zooming in on particular contexts is crucial for understanding how partnerships can respond and be strengthened in response to evolving challenges and opportunities, we also want to zoom back out to look at the broader policy and strategic context in which today's migration trends and debates are situated. So, the VMC this year also features panels on crisis management with a focus on the EU's external borders and on changing geopolitics before tying everything together tomorrow with reflections on the way forward for strengthening migration partnerships. A key feature of the VMC is broad debate, giving a platform for many views. We want to connect with you, our participants, in the quest for good migration policy and cooperation. I'm thrilled to see so many key actors here in the room with us in Vienna, and I'm very happy that again this year we're able to stream the conference live to a virtual audience. As you heard, more than 1,000 registered participants are also following us live. We made arrangements so that you can engage in the debates in different ways. Almost all sessions offer time for questions and answers so that you here in the room can raise your hand the old-fashioned way to react to what's being said and to pose a question or two. You can also join the online audience and use our commenting and polling features on the VMC platform Huva, or follow us on Twitter using the hashtag ViennaMigConf. If you haven't downloaded the Huva app, please do so you can participate in our polls and in other features. So we spared no effort in trying our best to design a relevant, interesting, and lively program that meets all of our expectations and lives up to the standards that we've grown accustomed to in relation to the VMC. Breaks are an essential part of that program, so I hope you find time to network, to chat, to catch up with friends and colleagues. And I hope you hear something interesting, or something familiar but said in a new way, or framed differently, or put in a new light, something that makes you connect the dots, something that generates a new idea. Even if it's a crazy, ambitious idea, like imagining what the ideal migration partnership of the future might look like. Could it combine Spain's long-term commitment to its partners, the original ambition of the EU-Turkey statement in 2016, the focus on multilateralism and responsibility sharing of the AU, EU, UN trilateral cooperation in Niger and Rwanda? Could it combine that with new innovations such as climate-aware policies and incentives on trade, development, and legal migration? For the next day and a half, I hope we all hear many things that motivate and re-energize us to continue to move forward in the quest for better partnerships and ultimately better and more comprehensive responses. Thank you for being with us today and tomorrow, here in the room and online. It is now high time to move to the more exciting parts of the program and hear what countries and commentators have to say about building and strengthening migration partnerships in Europe's immediate neighborhood and the wider world. It is my distinct pleasure to hand back to my Director General, Michael Spindelegger, for the first opening session on Afghanistan.